Hi, I'm David Perry, and we're back with 10%, and I'm holding what may be the cutest, darn, certainly gayest socks I've ever had. And our next guest, Jeff Holman of East Bay Front Runners, is going to tell me about these cute socks.
Yes, the socks are going to be a giveaway that everybody gets who participates in our 7th annual Pride Run and Walk coming up a week from tomorrow on Saturday, October 8th.
Saturday, October 8th. You know, I'm joking about the socks because my husband loves these little half ones, and I don't know, you may not leave the studio with these. I'm just warning you.
That's all right. You're welcome to them. You're welcome to them.
Listen, there was a time when an all-gay running group was not something that would have been, well, terribly safe.
That's right. That's right. And in fact, I think a lot of gay people got the message in high school that athletics wasn't for them. So once gay people kind of found each other and started running, it was a real kind of an esteem builder for them. And then the running club phenomenon started in San Francisco, and what became known as the Front Runners started there. And now, today, there are dozens of front runner clubs.
So there are front runners, LGBT running clubs all over the country?
All over the country, all over the world, as a matter of fact.
Now, for the uninitiated, where does the name Front Runners come from?
Well, it comes from a novel by Patricia Nell Warren called The Front Runner, and a gay-themed novel. And,
back in the late 60s, early 70s?
I believe so, and that's right before the San Francisco Front Runners got off the ground in the early 70s.
But you have a confession to make. You've never read the book.
I've never read the book.
I've outed you.
You have, and I will have to turn in my gay card probably.
That's okay.
Before I walk off here.
Yeah, I remember reading it when I was a late teenager and just beginning to deal with the fact that I was a gay man, and I read it, and it was transforming for me, although it didn't get me into running.
Sure.
But you weren't a natural-born runner either. You have an interesting story about how you came to be athletic.
Yes, absolutely. I only started running after I got burned out in the East Bay Hills fire of 1991, and that seemed to be kind of a bellwether event. I'd kind of been a couch potato. I'd never really liked running as a kid, and seemed like a good time in my life to start making some changes. So getting fit was one of them.
So you actually lost your home in the Berkeley fire of 1992.
That's right. I had been renting a room in a house, and so the housemates and I all lost all our possessions in that. So started running in 92, getting fit, and then actually got out to running, and suddenly I realized I enjoyed being outside, and I've been doing it regularly ever since.
Now, I'm not a runner, and I've always thought that I couldn't do it. Do you think there are a lot of people like that who feel that, oh, it's just boring, or I can't do it, or I'm not fit enough? How do you go from being a couch potato to...
Absolutely. I think that's a common thing, and as I said, I never thought running was for me. I always found it very painful, and I found that once I got fit in the gym, got some aerobic fitness, and then got out on the road, I found it was a lot more enjoyable. You didn't get the burning lungs and the sore legs, and so I think for a lot of people, if you start out by walking and then maybe run for 30 seconds and then walk, a lot of people who start running for the first time think it has to be painful. It doesn't. You know, and if you do that regularly, pretty soon you find out that you're running more than you're walking, and pretty soon you're jogging, and it sort of builds on itself. And those who enjoy it then continue on with it.
Right. Now, have all the front runner organizations become running and walking organizations, or, I mean, we all know it as front runners,
sure,
but it sounds like now you've kind of maybe acknowledge the baby boom that some of us don't want to run, but maybe we could walk?
Absolutely, absolutely. And our club, you know, the age spectrum is fully represented. So we have people in their late 20s right up through their 70s. And we have some phenomenal athletes who are in their 70s and continue to run. So, yeah, it's a great cross-section, men and women. Really, really a good group.
Now, this upcoming run for you on October 8th, it's an anniversary, correct?
That's right. Well, it's our 7th annual Pride Run and Walk. So we started very humbly with about 30 people, and last year we had 150 people in our race, and we're hoping to see if we can hit 200 this year.
Right.
And the race is a benefit. We are part of the community and want to make sure that we support good community organizations. So we're benefiting 3 excellent nonprofit organizations. The Pacific Center in Berkeley, who a lot of your viewers may be familiar with. It was one of the first LGBT resource centers in the Bay Area, I believe. They go back to the early 1970s. So we're supporting them. Also the Midway Shelter in Alameda, which is a great resource for women and children who need to escape bad home situations. And then also an organization called Students Run Oakland. and they take at-risk high school youth and train them to run a marathon, which is great on so many levels.
You know, it's interesting to hear you talk about the nonprofits, and it's great that, you know, one nonprofit or a volunteer group is giving back, which I assume is
Yes.
what Frontrunners is.
Yes.
Is giving back to the community. With one exception, those two nonprofits aren't LGBT specific.
You're absolutely
You know,
right.
there was a time, I mean, I moved to the Bay Area in the early, or I should say mid-1980s, and there were a lot of benefits going on, and they were all for HIV/AIDS causes.
Yes.
There certainly wasn't even the notion that a gay group would raise money for a non-gay group.
Yes, absolutely. You know, we find that the community is integrating, and I think especially so in the East Bay. You know, gay residents are kind of dispersed throughout the area. There isn't really a gay neighborhood per se. So we've had a lot of support. For example, the Lake Merritt Joggers and Striders are a running club, the biggest running club in the East Bay, and they've been tremendously supportive of our efforts. For example, they have a couples relay around Valentine's Day. Since our association with them has gotten stronger, they've invited same-sex couples to run in their relay. And they have, you know, been very generous, as I said, lending their expertise and actually some of their materials to help us stage our run. So,
do you think there ever was, and if so, does it still exist, the stereotype that gay people aren't athletic or not sportsman-like or sportswoman-like?
Absolutely.
They just can't do it. We're just not as butch or as fast as our non-gay brothers and sisters.
Yes, I think that message probably got reinforced in high school for a lot of us, and I was one of those guys who was always picked right near the bottom for all the teams.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of our brethren and sistren, is that the right word?
Yeah, close enough.
Experience the same thing. So, so running and walking has become an activity that people find they can do and do well. And we've seen a lot of people who've just kind of excelled, and I've been, you know, it's been a real pleasure for me to see people who come into the group just walking, and then they jog a little, and then they start to do their first 5K and 10K, and we even have people who are doing half marathons and marathons now who never thought they could run before.
Right. So do you see any sort of political side to being a front runner?
Well, you know, I wouldn't say political per se. I think we certainly don't hesitate to raise the flag and let people know that we're out there. If that's a political statement, then we're political to that extent.
Yeah, I mean, when there's still laws on the books in, you know, 20-some states, I think it's political being out. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And it's, you know, again, very supported in the community. And I think the more people get to know who we are, the more positive the reception. We haven't had any negative blowback from anybody.
Have you invited any of the East Bay politicians to run with you?
No, but you know, we're trying to see if we can get. We've asked Jean Quan to see if
Mayor of Oakland,
to see if she'll start the race for us. We're working on different angles, and we're working on getting the East Bay Gay Men's Chorus to possibly sing the national anthem for us at the start of the race this year.
Well, this is going to be an interesting week. I mean, this Saturday will be actually right during the middle of the 30th anniversary San Francisco Fleet Week.
That's right.
And I've been pointing out to people and reminding them that this is a very significant Fleet Week. It's the first time in U.S. history where there will be thousands of Marines and sailors and members of the Coast Guard who can now be open.
That's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, so maybe you'll have some sailors running around with you.
Well, yeah, we always like men in a uniform. So, one thing I want to say though, our club, by the way, has a lot of women in it too. So I certainly don't want to ignore that. Our membership's about 70% men, 30% women.
Is that pretty typical of the breakdown for?
We actually have a very strong female presence in East Bay Frontrunners, and we're really proud of that. And we're working to do what we can to keep women coming. And I think we find that for a lot of women, it's tough to get that critical mass of people. A lot of times, women come to an event for the first time; they don't see a lot of women. And I think we're at that point now where we've got enough women who participate that they feel like they're welcome, and again, we're really proud of that. We have women on our board, and it's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
Talk a little bit about the logistics of this race, because you said it is a benefit. Mention the three organizations again, and if someone wants to now, while they're seeing this show, do they still have time to sign up for Saturday's race?
Absolutely. Yes, they can go to our website, eastbayfrontrunners.org. We have a Pride Run page. There are options to register. You can register using active.com or right through your PayPal account, and you can download and print a paper form. We encourage people to register online if they can, so that will avoid, you know, a crush on the day of the race. So yeah, it's real easy to find out how to register.
And how much does it cost us to enter?
It's only $20, which is a pretty good price, and you can do a 5K or a 10K or a 5K walk. So we have 3 different categories, and everybody gets a pair of these fabulous socks.
I love these socks.
And a goodie bag, and you come away with a kind of a good feeling at the end of it too.
So what's your best run? I mean, some people are triathletes, some people do 5K, 10K. What's yours?
I've done a marathon. I did a 3-hour and 33-minute marathon. That's my PR, and that was in Sacramento about 3 or 4 years ago. And by the way, I never would have probably felt like I had the wherewithal to run a long distance had I not gotten into front runners. It's such a supportive group of people, and I think a lot of people have kind of exceeded their expectations, and it certainly was the case for me. I was afraid I didn't have the knees for it to train through it, and having the support of other people to do it with really made the difference, and I believed that I could, and I did.
So building community and muscles.
Absolutely.
We've been speaking with Jeff Holman of East Bay Front Runners and Walkers, and if you're registered by Saturday, you get some of these great socks. I just love those. I'm David Perry. You've been watching 10%. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.